We kick things off in the middle of a literal bloodbath. The Far East War is peaking, and our boy Ray White is watching his mentor get turned into a kebab right in front of him. Ray goes full sicko mode, unleashing a massive ice blast that turns the entire enemy army into human popsicles. Fast forward 3 years and our Giga Chad is done with the war. He just wants a normal life, so he enrolls in Arnold Academia Fancy School for snobbish nobles who think they're the main characters. The second Ray steps onto campus, he's already rizzing up the ladies without even trying. A green-haired named Wanda Erica trips and is about to eat dirt, but Ray catches her with superhuman speed. Wanda starts blushing like a rom-com lead, but as soon as her friends mention Ray is an ordinary, aka a commoner, without a noble bloodline, she literally foams at the mouth and faints from the disgust of being touched by a peasant. Before Ray can even process that, a blue-haired beta male named Albert Oleum shows up with his goons to talk trash. He tries to grab Ray, but our boy hits him with a smooth UI-style dodge that leaves the whole crowd shook. Luckily, the top-tier baddie of the school, Amelia Rose, steps in. She's the daughter of the most powerful family in the kingdom, and she shuts Albert down, telling him that anyone who passed the exam belongs here, regardless of their family tree. Time for the first magic lesson with Miss Gray. She's explaining the ranking system and mentions the legendary Iceblade sorcerer, the hero who won the war and then ghosted the entire world. Albert is still acting like a clown in the back, wondering why a peasant is in his class. When it's time for the practical exercise, Ray decides to sandbag hard. While Amelia manifests a perfect crystal rose, Ray suppresses 99% of his power and produces a tiny, pathetic ice cube. The whole class erupts in laughter, and the bullies officially give him the nickname Withered Wizard. After class, Ray heads to the library and spots the resident nerd, Eliza Griffith. She's a half-elf who hides her pointed ears under a massive hat because she's been bullied for them. Ray, being the ultimate gentleman, tells her that her ears are actually extremely hot, which causes poor Eliza to nearly melt from embarrassment. Later, Ray gets to his dorm and meets his roommate, Evi Armstrong. This guy is a literal unit. Instead of checking their family status, they decide to communicate through the universal language of gains. They strip off their shirts and start flex your biceps in front of the mirror. Just like that, a legendary bromance is born. Next morning, Ray is out for a jog and speeds past a third-year hottie named Rebecca Bradley. The wind from his run almost lifts her skirt, and Rebecca is more impressed by his stamina than she is offended. On his way to the principal's office, he Clarice Cleveland, a hyperactive girl with cute pigtails. Ray hits her with a quick compliment, secures another waifu point, and moves on. Finally, he meets the principal, Abby Garnett. It turns out they're old war buddies. Abby was his former colonel, and she's the only one who knows that this withered kid is actually the world's most dangerous weapon. Albert is still salty and challenges Ray to a duel to humiliate him in front of everyone. He swings his wooden sword with full-force fire magic, but Ray is moving smoother than butter. He doesn't even use magic. He just waits for the perfect moment and taps Albert's sword at its weakest point, shattering it into toothpicks. After putting that blue-haired clown Albert in his place, our boy Ray White is ready to live his best life. He didn't come to Arnold Academy just to study. He wants the peak high school experience he lost while ending a continental war. So instead of joining the library club, Ray decides to join two of the most extreme clubs in school at the same time. Why? Because he's a Giga Chad, that's why. Ray's first stop is the Environmental Research Club. But don't let the name fool you, this place is basically a cult for bodybuilders. Ray walks in and it's just a room full of massive, oily dudes in their underwear flexing biceps like their lives depend on it. The leader tries to talk trash, calling Ray scrawny, but Ray doesn't even use words. He just drops his uniform, revealing a physique so shredded it makes the elites look like wet noodles. To finish them off, he pulls out a gold-class hunter license card so rare it basically says, "I can survive a nuclear winter with a toothpick." The muscle bros lose their minds, and Ray is officially welcomed into the Brotherhood of Gains. Next up is the Gardening Club, led by the third-year hottie and student council president, Rebecca Bradley. Rebecca is sweet, but her secretary, Dina, is a total hater. She thinks Ray is just a sim P and gives him a mission impossible task. Turn a roof full of weeds into a paradise in 1 week. Ray, being a literal farm boy from the countryside, finishes it in 4 days. When Rebecca sees his progress, she gets so impressed by his sweaty, glistening arms that she actually asks to touch his muscles. Ray, with zero hesitation, lets her, leaving the poor girl shook by how hard they are. Meanwhile, Amelia Rose is watching from a distance, radiating pure crimson-haired jealousy. Our boy's harem is growing faster than the flowers. Time for the practical forest exercise. The students have to form teams of 4 to survive a monster-infested forest for 24 hours. While the noble kids group up together, Ray is left alone as the ordinary outsider. But he doesn't care. First, Evi joins his squad. Then, Ray rizzes up the shy half-elf Elisa Griffith, telling her she's brilliant until she practically melts. The final shocker? Amelia Rose, the top-ranked baddie of the first year, rejects all the nobles and asks to join the ordinary group instead. Albert and his goons are absolutely seething in the background as the Giga Chad squad heads into the woods. In the forest, Ray is a literal cheat code. He guides his team like a pro and even saves a girl named Clarice from a giant bee monster by slicing it in half with a sword before anyone can blink. But the real drama starts when they find Albert's team getting absolutely wrecked by a giant beast. Ray steps in and handles the monster easily, making it look like child's play. But just as everyone starts to relax, a mysterious spy hiding in the shadows casts a dark spell on the monster's corpse. Suddenly, the beast starts glowing with an evil aura, its bones start snapping, and it begins evolving into a massive, evolved nightmare form that shouldn't even exist. That giant monster just got a dark evolution boost from a mysterious spy, and everyone is panicking. But our boy Ray White? He's just chilling. He leads his squad Evi, Elisa, and Amelia like a pro raid leader. Amelia sets the floor on fire, Evi throws a literal boulder like he's playing dodgeball with mountains, and Ray flashes forward to find the weak spot, slicing the beast clean in half. They finish the exercise, and while the other nobles are seething that a peasant won, Ray is already thinking about his day off. Ray decides to visit his mentor and the original Iceblade sorcerer, Lydia Ainsworth. She's currently in a wheelchair because of a overheating incident in the past that Ray still feels guilty about. Lydia is a total top-tier baddie who scolds Ray for not visiting sooner, but then things get serious. She warns him about a group called eugenics crazy scientists who want to cut open sorcerers' brains to steal their power. She gives him a strict order. Never release the Chronos lock unless your life is in absolute danger. Before he leaves, Lydia hands him a special training manual. Ray thinks it's some secret forbidden technique, but he opens it and realizes it's a book of cheesy pickup lines. Next morning, Ray is out for a jog and spots his first target, the shy half-elf Elisa Griffith. He decides to test the manual. He walks up and drops a barrage of compliments about her beauty and intelligence, until she's basically a human puddle of embarrassment. Clarice Cleveland jumps out from behind a pillar to join the date, and Ray handles them both like a Giga Chad, inviting them to lunch and rizzing them up simultaneously. The harem collection doesn't stop there. Ray runs into Amelia Rose, who is dressed up after a noble event. She sees Ray smelling like other girls and immediately goes into jealous mode. She commands him to take her shopping. At the mall, Ray uses his Riz manual on Amelia while she tries on different outfits. He tells her that her heavy burdens, looking at her chest, shouldn't be carried alone. Amelia is blushing so hard she could set the mall on fire. But then comes the legendary moment. A tiny spider scares her in the changing room, and she scrambles out and jumps on Ray while wearing nothing but her underwear. Our boy Ray doesn't even flinch. He's a soldier. He's seen everything. While Ray is out here building a harem, the blue-haired hater Albert Allium is having a mental breakdown in the forest. He's unleashing fire magic on random trees, screaming Ray's name, and swearing revenge because he got embarrassed by an ordinary. Ray White is back at it. He starts his morning with the Environmental Research Club, which is basically a 5 a.m. gathering of demigods preparing for war. After the workout, Ray heads over to the gardening club. Secretary Dina, who finally stopped being a hater, gives Ray a key to the club room. Ray walks in like he owns the place, but he stops dead in his tracks. Why? Because the student council president and top-tier baddie Rebecca Bradley is standing there in nothing but her underwear. Rebecca turns as red as Amelia's hair, but here's the best part. She's not even mad Ray saw her. She's upset because she was wearing childish panties instead of her grown-up ones. Ray takes it like an absolute Chad, apologizes calmly, and later they share some tea like nothing happened. Time for the Magic Chevalier internal qualifiers, a tournament where the students fight to see who represents the school. Ray decides to be a staff member because he's still trying to maintain his withered wizard cover. Amelia Rose enters the ring and deletes her opponent in seconds, but instead of leaving, she looks at Ray and challenges him to a duel in front of everyone. Ray accepts and the duel begins. Amelia goes on a full force offensive, but Ray is moving smoother than a Michael Jackson moonwalk. In a split second, Ray finds an opening and counters with enough power to end her whole career. But at the last millimeter, he stops the blade, drops his weapon, and forfeits the match. Amelia is fuming because she knows he let her win. The mystery of the ordinary kid just got 10 times deeper. But the peace doesn't last. The blue-haired king of the haters, Albert Allium, shows up and he's gone full psycho. He challenges Ray to a real duel with steel swords, and this time it's a death match. Albert unleashes a massive flaming dragon that looks like it belongs in a season finale. But Ray just sighs. He cuts the literal magical dragon in half with a single slice and leaves Albert crying on the ground like a baby who lost his pacifier. Just as Amelia is about to ask Ray who he really is, a massive gravitational force slams everyone into the dirt. A hooded figure steps out of the trees and reveals their true face. It's their teacher, Miss Gray, Helena Grady. She's a member of eugenics and she's here to steal Ray's brain. She sends fiery snakes to kill Ray's friends, forcing our boy to make a choice. He apologizes to his master Lydia, releases the Chronos lock, and boom. His hair turns white, the temperature drops to absolute zero, and the Iceblade sorcerer is finally revealed to his friends. The withered mask is off, and Miss Gray just realized she messed with the wrong ordinary. Sub now, because next time we see the world's strongest mage go full sicko mode. Miss Gray realizes she's in trouble and injects a dark serum straight into her own brain, turning into a literal demonic monster. She thinks a power-up will save her, but Ray just stands there with zero chill. He unleashes icicle blades, circling himself with flying swords of ice that delete her fire spells like they were nothing. He uses a move called lock registration to slow down her movements until she's basically moving in stop motion. Then he hits her with the frame lock, pinning her to the ground and freezing her solid. Miss Gray went from being a final boss to a frozen dinner in about 3 minutes. After the fight, Ray passes out from exhaustion, and we finally get to see why our boy is so traumatized. 10 years ago, a young Lydia Ainsworth, the previous Iceblade sorcerer, found Ray as a tiny war orphan in the middle of a battlefield. She raised him like a son and trained him to be the ultimate weapon. We see the climax of the Far East War where Ray's mentor, Howard Kennett, gets unalived right in front of him. This caused Ray to go into a state called overheating. His brain couldn't handle the power, and he unleashed an ice blast so big it ended the war but accidentally paralyzed Lydia's legs. Ray wakes up in the infirmary surrounded by his squad. Now that the secret is out, he expects them to be afraid of him. But this is a Giga Chad team. Amelia, Eliza, and Evi don't care about his titles. They just care about their friend. Then comes the most satisfying moment of the season. Albert Allium, the king of the haters, actually walks in and bows his head. He admits he was a total beta male and apologizes for being a jerk. He realizes Ray wasn't hiding his power to look down on him, but to protect everyone from the overheating nightmare. We kick off this episode with some high-tier fan service as the crimson-haired queen, Amelia Rose, is chilling in the bathtub. But she's not just relaxing, she's having a total mental breakdown. She's staring at her own munchkins in the mirror, worried that she isn't attractive enough because Ray didn't even flinch when he saw her in her undies earlier. Next day at school, things get even wilder. Principal Abby introduces the new homeroom teacher, and Ray looks like he's just seen his own funeral. It's Carol Caroline, the spellbinding sorceress, and another one of the 7 grand sorcerers. She starts needling Ray in front of the whole class, and for the first time ever, our Giga Chad is actually flustered and uncomfortable. Ray tries to get her fired on the spot, but Abby just laughs. The Rizzblade has finally met his match. Ray realizes Amelia needs a massive power-up to beat Ariani, so he puts on a mask and becomes Master White. He takes her into the woods for some Spartan-style training that would make a drill sergeant cry. We're talking non-stop running and dodging sonar attacks. It gets so brutal that Amelia tries to run away, but Ray uses literal sonar to find her like a Terminator. While the guys are training, we get the craziest scene yet. Amelia has a bisexual harem dream where Elisa and a bunny girl Clarice are all over her, right before Master White swoops in for a kabedon with an apple. She wakes up fuming, but hey, at least she's motivated now. Now for the Giga Chad move of the century. Ray needs to scout out Diom Academy Ariani's school to find any eugenics spies. His solution? He becomes a girl. Ray White is still deep undercover at Diom Academy, disguised as the top-tier waifu Lily White. He's busy rizzing up Maria Bradley, Rebecca's little sister, who is now officially obsessed with her big sister Lily. But then the real challenge appears. Ariani Algren, the elegant badass of Diom, challenges Lily to a spar. Ray has to fight like a lady while keeping his power suppressed, but he's so smooth that Ariani can't even land a hit. In a Giga Chad move, Ray reveals his true identity to Ariani by suddenly switching to his deep male voice while still wearing the dress. Ray takes his squad Amelia, Elisa, Evi, and Clarice back home to meet the woman who raised him, the legendary Lydia Ainsworth. Lydia might be in a wheelchair, but she is the definition of an alpha. She starts evaluating the girls like she's a judge at a high-stakes waifu pageant. She makes blunt comments about their magic potential and their physical traits, giving the master's approval to the shy elf Elisa. Suddenly, the scene jumps straight to the dorm room where Ray and Evi Armstrong are shirtless and training like absolute madmen. But there's a catch: both of them have massive red handprints on their faces. After the Muscle Bros finish their punishment workout, Ray knows Amelia is still doubting herself. He puts his Master White mask back on for one last training push in the woods. He's pushing her to stop being a beta and finally unlock the resolve she needs to face her past and her rival. Amelia finally stops comparing herself to others and finds her own internal fire. The crimson-haired queen is officially ready for war. With the training finished, we finally head to the arena. The Magic Chevalier tournament officially kicks off at the very end of the episode. The crowd is roaring. The best sorcerers from the 3 great academies are gathered, and the finals are about to begin. Amelia is fired up for her rematch with Ariani, and Ray is watching from the shadows, ready to step in if the eugenics organization tries to crash the party. The Magic Chevalier finals are officially in full swing, and we kick things off with a match that actually makes us respect the former king of Buffons, Albert Allium. Al has officially joined the Chad Circle and is facing off against the lightning monster Ariani Algren. He fights with actual pride, even managing to disarm her. But Ariani isn't the rival for nothing. She charges up and hits Albert with a lightning fist straight to the gut that sends him flying. While the tournament is hype, the crimson-haired queen Amelia Rose is internally spiraling. But don't worry, our boy Ray White is about to pull the most Chad move in romance history. He stays in Amelia's room the night before the big match, and Waitford holds her hand all night long to keep her calm. The narrator would usually scream "Lewd" here, but Ray does it with zero hesitation. By sunrise, Amelia is recharged and Ray is looking like the ultimate support Chad. While the crowd watches the matches, the Grim Reapers, eugenics assassins, decide to crash the party. But Ray, wearing his Master White mask, is 10 steps ahead. He teams up with Lex, who turns out to be Carla's little brother. In the middle of the cleanup, Ray finds Clarice Cleveland trapped. To get her out fast, Ray throws Clarice over his shoulder like a sack of potatoes and accidentally places his hand squarely on her package. Clarice is definitely winning the harem battle right now. Ray finishes the trash collection just in time and dashes back to the arena. Amelia is in the ring facing Ariani, and she's starting to doubt herself again. Ray arrives at the last second and gives her a 2-minute pep talk from the stands that deletes years of family trauma. Amelia finally stops trying to be a rose and starts being a monster. She reveals her butterfly effect magic pink explosive butterflies that manipulate causality. Ariane's lightning attacks start missing by a hair as the butterflies start turning the arena into a pink explosion zone. But there's a catch. This power is so taxing that Amelia's brain is starting to turn into a baked potato. She's bleeding from her nose and shaking, but she refuses to back down. The magic gets so intense that both girls literally run out of mana. They go full Rocky Balboa. They start a brutal fistfight in the middle of the arena. After a legendary cross-counter exchange where they both take a hit to the face, Amelia lands the final blow and secures the W. The crowd is silent, the dads are clapping, and the Crimson Queen has finally beaten the fraud allegations. After the battle, we jump to the infirmary. Amelia and Ariani are both wrapped in more bandages than a mummy. Ray walks in to check on them, and the atmosphere is basically harem level 99. But the celebration is cut short. We see the other bracket of the tournament where Rebecca Bradley, one of the school's top sorcerers, is facing a mysterious guy named Lucas Frost. Lucas is a total elegant monster, and he deletes Rebecca in one single stroke. It turns out he is another of the 7 grand sorcerers, the peerless blade sorcerer. He didn't come for the trophy, he came for Ray White. He tells our boy to fix his overheating issue because he wants a real fight. Ray just got a legendary rival. White is ready for some peaceful school vibes. The crimson-haired queen Amelia Rose reveals her secret passion, maids. She is weirdly obsessed with them and suggests their class opens a maid cafe for the cultural festival. Ray decides to visit his master, Lydia Ainsworth, to check in. This is where we see the only person who can actually beat Ray in a fight. Ray makes the bold move of telling Lydia she would look terrible in a maid outfit because a gorilla can't be a maid. Lydia reacts exactly like a motherly war god would. She hands him his own head. Despite the jokes, Lydia warns him that eugenics is moving in the shadows. But the fun stops when we look at Rebecca Bradley. Rebecca is going through literal hell. Her eyes are bleeding out like something from an R-rated horror movie. She's having nightmares about Ray's traumatic past. showing a metaphysical connection that the eugenics organization wants to exploit. Poor Maria Bradley is the only one protesting, but her parents treat her like a beta because she has less magic. Ray knows something is wrong, so he and Carla go full detective mode. Ray goes to the festival and meets Evan, who is actually the sorcery eye collector from eugenics. This psycho doesn't want a wife. He wants Rebecca's unique eyes to open the door to Akasha, the source of all truth. Ray and Rebecca meet in a shared dream. Ray's eyes start bleeding too, showing that their souls are linked by some heavy magic. Rebecca almost asks him about the war, but she stops because she's already resigned to her fate. Our Giga Chad is on high alert, and he's ready to fight for his waifu's honor. The school festival is officially here, and it's time for the legendary Maid Cafe. While everyone is busy serving tea, Ray pulls the ultimate pro gamer move. Lily White is back. He puts on the dress and becomes the most effective maid in the room. Even Ariani Algren visits the cafe and her brain completely short-circuits when she sees Lily working the room. Ray is out here outmating every actual girl in the school. Peak Giga Chad performance, but the festival fun gets cut short by some dark family secrets. Rebecca's dad, Bruno Bradley, reveals the truth. Their family is cursed. Every few generations, a child is born as a Kreut, someone with magic eyes that see the threads of fate. Rebecca is the latest victim, and her father sold her to the creepy Evan Bernstein to save the family's noble status. Ray realizes this isn't just a wedding, it's a ritual to open the door to Akasha. The Evan imposter, the eugenics eye collector, makes his move. He kidnaps Rebecca right in front of Maria. Suddenly, the festival turns into a war zone as eugenics sends in hordes of monsters and demons to keep everyone busy. The squad, Amelia, Elisa, Evi, and Albert, jump into action to defend the school while Ray and Maria head out on a high-stakes chase to rescue Rebecca before her eyes are ripped out. But the numbers are too high. Just when it looks like they might get overwhelmed, the adult cleanup crew arrives. Abby Garnett and the Gyaru baddie Carol Caroline finally stop holding back. Abby is out here using dual sword whips to shred monsters like paper, and even Carla, the maid, is an absolute monster on the battlefield. But the real MVP is Ray's master, Lydia Ainsworth. Meanwhile, Ray and Maria Bradley reach the ritual site. The fake fiancé, the eye collector, is about to open the door to Akasha using Rebecca as a human battery. He summons a top-tier demon named Paratogo, a soul-devouring fat cat that thinks Ray is a snack. But Ray White, he has zero chill. He realizes his normal ice magic isn't enough, so he invokes his most profound and dangerous ability, Pandora. His aura turns blood red, and he creates red ice blades that ignore the laws of physics. He turns the glutton into a giant frozen statue of red ice in seconds, proving once and for all why he's the one who will rule the world. With the demon gone, Ray reaches Rebecca. Her eyes are failing, her brain is overheating, and she's ready to die. But Ray enters her mental world and rizzes her back to reality. He uses his Chronos Lock, the same seal he uses on himself, to zap her magic eyes and stabilize her power. Just as the creep fiancé thinks he still has a chance, the fabrication sorceress, Liselot Eden, steps out of the shadows and deletes him. The threat is neutralized, and the Bradley sisters finally have a heart-to-heart that makes everyone's eyes water. We end with the festival fireworks. Rebecca is alive, her eyes are safe, and she's officially joined the harem. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe for more. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Stay awesome, and I'll catch you later. Bye.